So you want to build the 2x72 belt grinder that I'm building, but you're really not sure if you can weld. Well, if I can do it, so can you. Let's learn together, right here on Housework. Screw it, let's do it. Oh, hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Brian House here for Housework, and welcome back to my workshop. Today we are going to go over some of the tools and different techniques that I've used while building and constructing the 2x72 grinder. I am by no means a professional welder. I'm a decent welder. I'm a better grinder, but you know, the reality of it is MIG welding's not that tough. You can do it. If you want to build your own grinder, you really need to know this stuff. And I just have a few basic tools and a few of the things that I've learned along the way that I want to share with you guys. So let's get started. First and foremost, I'm going to talk about safety. Safety is paramount when it comes to welding. We're dealing with high amounts of electricity. We're dealing with some smoke, some things that get into the air that you could be breathing in, and also high amounts of light that could damage your eyes. And of course, a lot of you already know, but you need a welding helmet. And you don't need a real expensive one. This one was from Harbor Freight. I think I paid under $40 for it. It's auto darkening, so it makes it super simple to line up your welds. It's a really good investment to have an auto darkening helmet. I have one that doesn't auto darken and I don't use it as often. This is just the way to go. And for 35, 40 bucks, if you have a coupon, there's no excuse not to have one of these. A decent set of welding gloves is really important. These I got on Amazon. I think they were under $17. They're leather. They protect me from heat and light. And when I say light, I mean, have you ever heard the term welder's tan? You hear about these guys that spend all day welding and then they get a sunburn. That's a real thing. And especially somebody like me who's light-skinned, you can literally get a sunburn from welding. So you need longer gloves that will protect your arms. And then hopefully you'll have something like this Lincoln Electric leather jacket, welding jacket. I don't wear this that often, but when I'm welding above my head or doing large amounts of welding, I will put this thing on because it just keeps me protected. I do live in South Florida, so it's pretty hot. Suede is very hot, but this thing keeps me from catching on fire and getting a welder's tan and all that. So, also, I keep an assortment of wire brushes around. One of the things we're going to be talking a little bit about is preparation as far as your steel goes and making sure that those welds actually penetrate. That is one of the things that when I started welding, I didn't fully understand why your steel needed to be cleaned. And if you've done any amount of welding ever, you really know the quality difference between a dirty piece of steel and a clean piece of steel. So wire brushes help. Acetone is nice to have around on a rag and clean all your oils and grease and everything off that steel. We really want clean steel. I also keep a light dust mask. I don't do a ton of welding. If you're doing a lot of welding in one sitting, you may want to wear a respirator. I just wear this guy. It keeps the a majority of the smoke and other things from getting into my lungs, and I like to have that around. All right, so now we've got the safety equipment out of the way. I want to talk about some of the tools I have on hand. Preparation is key in this thing. You don't want to be running around your shop looking for tools when you've got everything all lined up and ready to weld. So get all your stuff out and get prepared. I don't have a dedicated welding table yet. I really want to build one, but I don't have one as of yet. So what I do is I have a 24-inch by 24-inch piece of steel. This one's got a notch cut out of it because I used it for something. But I use that to lay my pieces out on, and then I put my ground strap on it, so I don't really have to play around with the ground strap too much. However, if you don't have this kind of setup, you can go on Amazon and buy these really strong magnets. They're tiny, but they're super strong, and they've got a little loop on the end. So whatever you decide you want to weld, you could take this magnet, affix it to your steel, and clamp it right on. Because in this case, you really may not have access to get to the end of your steel like this. You really need something to clamp to, and that magnet makes that happen. I keep one of those on my welding cart just in case. Speaking of magnets, I bought this cool little set of articulating magnets. I saw them on an advertisement on Instagram, and I thought, wow, that's really ingenious, and they really are. They help so much in all different kinds of setups and scenarios. When you're trying to line something up, you set something up like this, and you don't have another person here to help hold things, you can literally just take this and stick it to it, and grab a couple of them, and hold your pieces in place. You can get one of these other cheapy magnet guys. You can see how simple this really is and how useful these little tools are. Some people don't like having magnets in a metal shop, and I understand that concept, but they are super useful for me, so I use them all the time. And you can put your tacks in and make a pretty complicated weld happen really easily. Also, another little tool that I like to have around is a digital level. These guys are about 20 bucks on Amazon, totally worth having. If you're working on a piece and you need it to be exactly level, this is an amazing little device that you can have in your tool set. You set it down, you turn it on, you zero it out. When you want to find out if this is a 90-degree angle or not, you just move it up to your steel and take a look at the numbers on there. And right now it's saying 89.62, and I really want 90, and I can make those adjustments. And because I got my little magnet helpers, they're keeping everything in line. And we get that pretty dang close. I'm able to get it pretty dang close using a digital level and my little magnet friend. So yeah, that's a really nice tool to have around. Now I want to talk about the most important tool a welder can own. For all those welds you mess up, anytime you need to make a change, you grab this guy and you fix it. It's an ongoing joke amongst amateur welders like myself that you're not really a welder, you're more of a grinder, and I totally understand that. Again, all of this stuff that I'm showing you today is available on Amazon, and there are links down in the description that will take you to my Amazon store, and you can find it all. I put a little welding category in there so you can just basically find all of this stuff really easy. Did you know you can buy an extension cord for your welder? Well, you can. I got this one on Amazon. It's a nice big beefy 8-gauge 25-foot extension cord, and it allows me to move my welder all over my shop without being concerned about having to have it plugged into one spot. Okay, let's real briefly go over the welder I use. This is a Hobart Handler 190. It runs off of 220. And if that intimidates you, the whole electricity side of things with 220, you should watch a few videos out there about installing a 220 outlet in your garage or workshop, because it is so simple. I think it would demystify it for you and open up a whole nother layer of things that you can have in your workshop. Now, if you have 220, this is an option. I would highly recommend this Hobart welder. Purchased it on Amazon. It's made in the United States of America by a company called Miller Corporation. It's kind of a spin-off of Miller. It's assembled in Appleton, Wisconsin, my old neck of the woods, and it has just been an extremely reliable welder. I cannot praise this thing enough. It's very simple. It's got 2 dials on it. You can't mess it up, and it's got a pretty cool chart on the inside that shows you the thickness of the steel, what kind of welding wire you're using, and what kind of gas you're using, and it tells you how to change those dials to make the settings correct. Stupid, simple, easy to use MIG welder. I highly recommend this thing. All right, we're all set up to run a few test tack welds on some scrap steel. It's a good idea to warm yourself up with some pieces of scrap. If you don't weld that often, I highly suggest you just kind of set something up like this, run a couple of beads, and then that way when you get to your actual workpiece, you're not laying down ugly welds. You can iron out all kinds of problems on scrap. It just looks that much better, and you do a lot less grinding. In this case, I've got some 2x2 steel. This is 1/8 inch thick, And I'm going to set my welder to 4 and about 4.5 on the wire speed. We're running an argon CO2 mix. I got one glove on one hand, this glove on this hand. I tend to hold all the hot stuff with this side. And I think we're ready to lay down some tack welds. I'm going to do one in one corner and one on the polar opposite corner, and that way it'll just hold it nice and tight. Kind of an ugly tack, but it works. That one's a little bit better. I always think positioning is really important when you're actually getting set up to do a weld. Position your body in a way that you're going to be comfortable, you know. I think that's really super key. At least for me, to be comfortable while I'm welding just makes for a cleaner, better weld. Hot dog, that doesn't look half bad. Might want to get a little hotter. Step it up to a 5. See if we can get that lay a little flatter. That's why I like doing this on some scrap, because you can play around with it. First one looked better. I'm going to go with that one. Although I think this is really just a positioning issue. It did lay a little flatter. A little better there. Too bad. Let's give it one more shot. Not too bad. You see, it got better the more I did. I took my time, kind of just laid down a nice bead. Didn't look too half bad there. Just one hot tamale right there. So as you can see, I'm not that great of a welder, but with a little bit of time, patience, and preparation, my welds don't look half bad. So I feel like I'm really ready to go ahead and finish the welds on the 2x72 belt grinder build. If you got something out of today's video, remember to hit that thumbs up button, and if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. There are links down in the description that will take you to my Amazon store, and everything in there is categorized down from my welding equipment to my personal safety equipment to my mill, my drills. All of my tools are in there in an easy to find way. That's a free way to support my channel. If you'd like to take your support to another level, I do have a Patreon page now. For as little as $1 a month, you can support everything I've got going on right here in my workshop. If you don't want to use Patreon, you can click the Buy Me a Coffee link down in the description, and you can actually buy me a coffee. I love coffee. Also, if you'd like some cool housework merch, I'm sporting some today, there is a link down below this video that will take you to my Teespring store, and you can buy a cool t-shirt or maybe a hoodie or something, and that's another cool way to support housework. Thanks so much, guys. It's been awesome hanging out with you right here in my workshop and studio. I hope to see you on the next video. My name is Brian House, and this has been Housework.